Osama Bedier. I'm the founder and CEO of Poynt. And Poynt is basically what we call a smart terminal. Just like consumer phones used to be dumb, they were feature phones, and over the last decade, they've become a lot smarter, and they've given us what I like to call technology superpowers. The ability to find anything on a whim, to order food, to find a car, to change your thermostat. Business hasn't seen these advances yet. And so we've created a special device that does everything a payment terminal does, like an Ingenico or Verifone device, but it's also got the capabilities of a phone or tablet. And it's open to third-party developers so they can build applications. I like to make impact, that's what drives me. I felt the work at Google was near done, and we had figured out how to put NFC in a smartphone, and figured out a great experience and how to make it work with the payment networks and the retailers. But I found that every great idea after the transaction, whether it was loyalty or whether it was promotions or whether it was ordering ahead, all of these required a smart device on the merchant side, and it didn't exist. So I said, well, I won't wait for somebody to build it, I'm going to go do it. And I had always, I joined PayPal at a very early time. I was at AT&T Wireless at a very early time, eBay at a very early time. So I had this nostalgia to go back to startups. I'd say we're still in the very early phase of mobile commerce. And unfortunately, that means take everything we did on the web and just make it work on a smaller screen. The outliers, the guys that are extremely successful, are the ones that realize that mobile can be better than the web, that the experience can be faster, easier, more personalized, that that you could leverage touch, you could leverage location, you could leverage now Apple Pay. So this idea of what can we do with mobile that is a magical experience that was never possible before because it's always in my pocket. And the clear answer there is mobile is like the glue of all your other interactions. Whether it's the ad you saw on television and you wanted to buy that thing, or whether it's you're browsing something on the web and you find the perfect thing and you want to save it on your phone and buy it there, or you go to the retailer's website and spend the hour into figuring out what the perfect camera is, and then buying it right there and going to pick it up, and they know you're around the corner because they have the integration on your phone. So this idea of mobile as the glue to create an amazing experience across the shopping channels. And that's what I call, omni-channel. Omni-channel commerce is that next phase, and I think most people don't get it yet. Most people think it's yet another opportunity to sell. I think the reality is, in this case, if you don't figure out omni-channel, you could be dead in a few years. I don't know if it's really advancement as much as a mindset. I think this idea, as you mentioned, omni-channel is a buzzword. Most people are like, what is that? What does it mean? To me, it's about experience. It's about the experience you see when you walk into a store. It's the experience that you see when you go to somebody's website. It's the experience you see when you see an ad. It should feel like a pleasant interaction across the board. The web has already taken selection and price, the things that have made retail what it is today. They've already taken it. They've won. Selection and price are perfect online. And so for brick and mortar retailers to survive, what they have to figure out is how to make an amazing experience happen. And that's difficult because it means this idea of cookie cutter retail, where I don't have to know who you are. I just treat you as a demographic. And as you walk in the door, I just treat you like all the other, 23-year-olds.
Unlike you,
Okay.
definitely would have been a word.
I'll say like the other 23-year-olds. That's not going to work anymore. You have to know who you are. They have to know who Chloe is and what she likes, what she's bought and disliked, what she's told her friends she doesn't like, what she's publicly put on her Facebook page. That's important. And they have to know interaction to interaction. I have to know how many times you've visited, how often you come back, why you haven't been back. I should reach out to you when you haven't and tell you, please come back and see. So this experience retail is going to be really important. One of them is, I don't know that you can actually accelerate it. Some things take time. You can't rush trust, because at the end, that's what we're talking about. right? So I can't force you to trust me. I can't beg you to trust me. It's something that takes time. And so any new payment method has gone through this cycle. Whether it's a brand new currency, when the euro came out, people are like, wait a minute, I don't know, what does this mean? Governments are a little, they have it a little easier because at least you trust the government and they back the currency. But when credit cards came out, a lot of people were afraid to use their credit cards online, especially every story that you heard. So it takes time for people to get used to them. The good news is credit cards aren't doing that well. All the security breaches around the world, they're scaring people already. And mobile phones have the opportunity to be more secure. So that's answer number one. Answer number two, the way you've ever gotten anyone to do anything is put a compelling value proposition in front of them. And hyper convenience has become the most interesting value proposition you can find. Most people would be afraid to use their phone to buy something, but put Uber in front of them and like, wow, wait a minute, this is really cool. I click a button and a car shows up. I'll do it and I won't even think about putting my credit card in there. First of all, it looks very bright. I think the last couple of years it was a little difficult because Google was doing NFC, Apple was doing iBeacon, and it wasn't really clear that the world was going to agree on a standard. Standards have always been important in payments. Again, all of these payment methods are replacing, for the first time, the private companies replacing something government did, currency, right? That's what credit cards really are. It's the idea of an agreed upon way to pay. And so when big players don't agree, the market stops. So it was very good last year to see Apple adopting NFC. And now, same flavor NFC, it's backward compatible, works on every terminal around the world. So, everybody being on the same standard. And then the networks, the payment networks and the banks all agreeing to go along. Enough fighting, let's just go figure this out. The carriers, the mobile carriers in the US have also now stopped fighting and said, okay, we haven't made any progress. Everybody is coming together on the same set of standards. So it looks very good. Then the second is, it's got to happen in the US first. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. All the payment companies are there. All the key carriers are there. All of the mobile operators the mobile operating systems are there. So it had to happen there. Everybody was waiting for it to happen there. I think now as it becomes successful, it'll roll out globally. And I believe both Apple and Google are working on that as we speak. I love Beacon as an experience technology. Back to experience retail, one of the hardest things to do with a mobile phone is to tell where you are, because GPS indoors doesn't work very well. And that's been the gap. Now in retail, I want to know not only are you in the store, but you're in this aisle on this corner in front of this item. That way I tell you something relevant and it doesn't feel spammy. And that's where Beacon is going to have a huge role. In addition, so when you add personalization data to Beacon, it's a magical experience. Imagine you buy something. One of my favorite things to do now, back to what is omni-channel, buying something online before I show up, so I don't have to go all over the store to find it. Right? The best experience for that is Apple. Why? Because after I buy the item, as I turn the corner, I live in Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, and my store there, as soon as I turn the corner at Stanford Mall, I get an alert that the store has been notified that I'm nearby and they're bringing my item to the front. What an amazing experience. So that's only possible because of Beacon. So I think you'll get a lot of experiences of that nature.